Welcome back to Mansfield's Melbourne, and our headliner guest tonight is a man who's had a connection with more than 40 years with Melbourne's media and its people, and we talk to him tonight about the early days of television and TV Week. Bruce Skeggs, how are you? Bruce, welcome to Mansfield's
Hi, Bruce,
Melbourne.
great to be with you and your viewers.
Good old pal of mine back in the 3XY days when you were doing trots.
Trots and races, yes, that's
right. Yes. Where did it start for you, the race calling, the trots?
Oh, well, I was a young journalist, a cadet reporter on the Argus, and one day I went to a trotting meeting and there was no commentator turned up, and I was only about almost 17, and the president of the club said, well, look, we've got nobody else to do this, son, you're a journalist, don't you? Get up and call the races. So I did, and at the end of the day I was booked by 6 other country trotting clubs to become their broadcaster. And that went on to, for 33 years, I called harness racing, 34,000 races, and a world record when I retired.
Did you do any overseas work?
Oh yes, 16 countries I called harness racing, and all over Europe and America.
Do you still do it, or is there a cut-off point where...
Oh yes, I retired from it in 1982 after 33 years of it. It was always only a sideline job, of course. My main work was journalism and then later politics. So it was a sideline job I enjoyed and took me all over the place, but I'd have to say it was pretty hard going because sometimes I was on 4 and 5 days or nights a week.
Yes, yes. It'd be a tough job too, wouldn't it? You're learning colours, numbers.
Well, that's right, and you've got to almost erase those from your mind after you've done them because there's so many different races.
Yes. Now let's look at the formative years of TV Week, which are phenomenally, well, it seems to have outstripped all the other TV magazines.
Oh yes, wonderful, wonderful magazine. I'll tell you what happened. I was on the Argus newspaper as a journalist, and of course it closed in just after the Olympic Games in early 1957, and well, naturally I was looking for something else to do, and I thought, well, television's just starting. It's timely to come up with a magazine for television. So I actually designed TV Week at that stage, took it down to Southdown Press, which was then run by Rupert Murdoch, a young Rupert Murdoch in his infancy. His first publication was New Idea and TV Week, as it turned out, and they bought the idea off me, and I stayed on as the editor with that publication for some years.
So you didn't start it, but you were there almost at the very beginning.
I created it.
Did you keep any of those editions? Because they're very collectible now.
I still have them,
yeah.
And I still have my original design for TV Week too.
Oh, that'd be worth a lot, but that would be like a good memory to keep.
Oh, wonderful memory, and of course they were great days. I had such wonderful people working around me as Jack Ayling.
Oh, great character.
And yes, and Rod Lever and a lot of famous people.
Were the Graham Kennedys and Bert Newtons of those days, I mean, they were just learning television, and as you were they open to interviews? There was no rejection at all?
They were very anxious to be featured on TV Week, and we even did horoscopes on their lives' predictions. Some of them turned out right too.
Yes.
Bert Newton, Panda, the whole lot.
I remember it was a very small magazine, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was quarto sized.
Any reason for that?
Well, it was meant to be a handy size that you could keep on top of your TV.
Yes.
But of course, later on, with the growth of television, they had to double it to quarto size.
Right. Now let's talk about politics. How did that enter your life?
Well, yes, I was a young journalist again, living in South Yarra at the time, and I was working on the Argus. And one day I was sick, and the doctor called on me, and he said, "You're a journalist, son." He said, "You must be." Surely you're interested in politics? I said, well, I've never really taken much interest. Anyway, he got me to come along to a Liberal Party meeting at Faulkner Park branch, and they made me the secretary on the spot, I suppose because I could type.
Well, the opportunities that have arisen in your life have always been very instant then.
Yeah, they are.
The calling of the races, the involvement in politics. You must think on the spot and make a decision there.
I guess I do. I take the initiative when it comes up, and of course I went along to the Liberal Party meeting, and later on became Secretary of the Federal Electorate, and then also the original Secretary-Treasurer of the Liberal Speakers Group, which was the training ground for politicians. Andrew Peacock was a Vice President, and a lot of interesting people were in that. And I did that job, became the President, and then when Vernon Christie, the late Sir Vernon Christie, retired in 1973, I became the endorsed candidate for Ivanhoe, and that was my first seat in Parliament.
Well, you were mayor of the city of Heidelberg and now standing for the city of Banyule this coming week.
Yes.
Very briefly, the issues at stake there, Bruce.
Yes, I think the issues at stake are you'll have an entire council of new people who've never had any experience in council. I'm the only person who's an ex-councillor of the city of Heidelberg, and of course a parliamentarian who's served the area for many years. I was 9 years member for Ivanhoe, then later on 7.5 years member for Templestowe Province, covering the same area, but also of course served in the council for 6 years, and as you said, mayor in 1990-91. So I know the area, know the people, and I think you're going to need an experienced voice in there.
Yes, well, I know, having been out there
council.
for a long time myself, your involvement in the community and your presence has, well, for almost as long as I've been there, has always been much to the forefront and very good serving the community.
And you and I started community radio together.
I'd like to
didn't we?
get you back one day on Mansfield's Melbourne and talk about 3INR, one of the first community stations and one of the most successful. We'll do that another time.
Absolutely.
Bruce Skeggs, congratulations for what you've done and good luck in the elections coming up.
Thank you very much indeed, Bruce, my old
Bruce
friend.
Skeggs on Mansfield's Melbourne, back in a moment.